It was a Saturday afternoon when I found it. The sun filtered the garage window as I fumbled around in my wife's car, looking for phone charger she always swore was somewhere in the glove compartment. I shifted papers, a crumpled receipt from Starbucks, an empty pack of gum. Nothing unusual. But then, tucked beneath the passenger seat, I saw it. A used condom. At first, I just stared at it, my mind refusing to connect the dots. Maybe it wasn't what I thought. Maybe it wasn't hers. My hands trembled as I picked it up with a tissue, holding it at arm's length like it was radioactive. I'd been married to Julie for 6 years. She'd always been the love of my life, my partner in crime, the woman who made bad days bearable with a laugh or a gentle touch. But in that moment, everything froze. My stomach churned and my heart thundered in my chest. I felt like the walls were closing in. I went back inside, my vision blurred with rage and disbelief. Julie was upstairs in the bedroom, probably scrolling through Instagram or planning her next girls' night out. I walked to the kitchen instead of confronting her right away, grabbing a glass of water to steady myself. I needed to think to piece everything together. The late nights at work, the text messages she dismissively swiped away when I'd walk into room, the new lingerie she bought but never worn for me. It all clicked. I sat at the table staring at the damning evidence on the counter, the tissue still wrapped around it. My hands shook and I felt tears prick the edges of my eyes, not from sadness, but from the raw sting of betrayal. By the time Julie came downstairs, I'd already made up my mind. "Hey, babe," she said, her voice chipper as she grabbed a water bottle from the fridge. "What's up?" I looked at her. Really looked at her like I hadn't in months. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and she wore an old college sweatshirt. She looked so normal, so unassuming, it made me sick. "We need to talk," I said, my voice at my hands clenching the fist beneath the table. She turned to me, her expression curious but not concerned. "Okay, what's going on?" I gestured to counter. Her eyes followed my hand, landing on the tissue-wrapped condom. For a split second, I saw it, the flicker of panic in her eyes, the twitch at the corner of her mouth. She quickly masked it with confusion. "What is that?" she asked, her voice higher than usual. "You tell me," I said. "I found in your car." She froze, her hand tightening around the water bottle. "I don't know. Maybe from when we don't." I snapped, my voice sharp enough to cut glass. "Don't insult me by lying. I'm not stupid, Julie, and I'm done playing the fool." She stared at me, her face pale. "It's not what you think," she whispered. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "Really? Then what is it?" Because from where I'm standing, it's pretty clear. Julie stammered, reaching for me, but I stepped back. Her touch burned, and I couldn't stand to be near her. "Who is he?" I demanded. "How long has it been going on?" Tears welled in her eyes, but I felt nothing. No sympathy, no sadness, just a cold, sting rage. "It doesn't matter," she said finally, her voice barely audible. "It was a mistake." I laughed again. "A mistake? You don't trip and fall into someone else's bed, Julie. This wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. And now I'm making mine." I turned and walked away, leaving her standing there calling my name. I went upstairs, my mind racing. I wasn't just going to leave. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of a clean break, of walking away without consequences. No, she needed to understand the depth of what she'd done, to feel even a fraction of the betrayal she inflicted on me. For the next 3 hours, I packed her things. Every piece of clothing, every pair of shoes, every piece of jewelry I'd ever bought her. I stuffed them into garbage bags, not bothering to fold or organize. Then I got creative. I printed out screenshots of our wedding photos, our vacations, even the ultrasound of baby we lost 2 years ago. I scribbled messages on them in red marker. "Liar, cheater, you destroyed us." I taped them to the walls, the mirrors, the fridge, everywhere she looked when she came back to the house. But that wasn't enough. I logged into her Facebook and Instagram accounts. She'd foolishly saved her passwords on our shared computer and posted a single simple message. "Hi, everyone. Just wanted to let you all know that I've been cheating on my husband for months. Hope you're all having a great day. Petty maybe, but I didn't care. She'd humiliated me, and now it was her turn. Finally, I called her parents. They'd always loved me, always treated me like the son they never had. I told them everything. Her mom cried. Her dad cursed. They promised to talk to her. I didn't need their pity, but I wanted them to know the truth. By the time Julie came home, the house was a battlefield of our memories. She walked in, her eyes wide with shock as she took in the mess, the photos, the garbage bags lined up by the door. "What the hell is this?" she screamed. I stood in the living room, arms crossed, my heart pounding, but my resolve unshaken. This is what happens when you destroy someone's life. I said coldly, "This is your mess now." She tried to argue, to cry, to beg, but I was done listening. I handed her the divorce papers I'd printed earlier that day. "Sign these," I said, "and get out." She looked at me, her eyes filled with a mixture of anger and despair. "You're being cruel," she whispered. "No," I said, my voice steady. "Cruel is betraying the person who loved you more than anything. Cruel is tearing apart a marriage for some cheap thrill. This is justice." She signed the papers, her hand shaking, and left with nothing but the bags I had packed. As she walked out the door, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. The house was a wreck. My heart was in pieces. But for the first time in months, I felt free. In the weeks that followed, I threw myself into rebuilding my life. I leaned on friends and family, took up boxing to channel my anger, and started therapy to heal the wounds she'd left behind. It wasn't easy, but day by day, I felt stronger, more in control. One evening, as I sat on the porch watching the sunset, my phone buzzed with a text from Julie. "I'm sorry. I messed up. I hope someday you can forgive me." I stared at the screen for a long moment before deleting the message. I didn't need her apologies or her regrets. I had my own life to live, and it didn't include her anymore. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't known in years. Julie was my past, but my future, that was mine to create, and I intended to make it better than anything she'd ever taken from me.